and copper plants as well. So competing with you.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for that. Let's go over here. We have a questioner on microphone 6.
السلام عليكم. هاتون نجيتي سيدة الأعمال. I want to ask Mr. Abdullah Dabbar, after hearing about this huge project, I want to ask him as a Saudi lady, are women involved in this huge project in the long term or not? And what will be the nature of their attendance or their attending in this huge project? And I wish they will be in the future, inshallah.
Thank you.
Well, my original background is an educator, and as an educator, I think all the members of society should contribute to the development of Saudi Arabia. And we do have good potential for women working in Ma'aden, and maybe not at the field at this point of time, but there are potential job offices, working in the offices based on the what's available now to have them being involved in. I think the men cannot do the development of Saudi Arabia without having the women support them and work with them.
Thank you for the question and for the answer. I have time for one more question, and I'll take it on microphone 3.
السلام عليكم. علي دقاق من القطاع الخاص. سؤالي للدكتور عبد الله، القيمة المضافة دائما تكون في الداون ستريم، هذا رأيي الخاص، واعتقد انت ذكرت ذلك في الداون ستريم في منطقة التي تريد تطورها معادن، في اظن في راس الزور. هنا علمنا عن يعني اضافات مرة ممتازة. انا ابى اتكلم عن تطوير المنطقة. لمن؟ لمعادن ارامكو او الهيئة الملكية؟ إذا سمحت يعني تدينا يعني نبذة عن ذلك. شكرا.
في الحقيقة I can do it in English. تبغاني أقولها بالعربي ولا بالإنجليزي؟ في الحقيقة عندما بدأت معادن تبحث عن موقع مناسب لإنشاء المدينة التعدينية، نظرنا لكل الجانب الشرقي من المملكة العربية السعودية حيث يتوفر الغاز ويتوفر الكبريت للموقع هذا، وأخيرا استطعنا الحصول على موقع أخلي لنا من شركة أرامكو السعودية لبناء مشاريع معادن. في الوقت الحاضر معادن تهتم بإكمال المشاريع التي هي مسؤولة عنها في هذه المنطقة، ولكن المجال لداون ستريم والصناعات اللاحقة والتابعة واللي يكون لها سينرجي مع الصناعات التي سنقوم فيها سيكون لها مجال في المستقبل، ربما في المستقبل الغير بعيد إن شاء الله.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm afraid I can't because I have to move on to the next section. But I just want to, before inviting you to join me, is say one thing back to you. Within that wonderful address, and also thank you for taking the questions, you used a lovely phrase when you talked about the future as you saw it for your industry and for the economy of this region, how you were looking forward to working with the people who would be the heroes of our new industrial revolution. It is a lovely thought to end upon. Would you please join me then in thanking Dr. Abdullah Dabag. Sir, thank you very much indeed. And thank you all very much for your questions. Again, my apologies that I can't take all of them, but I hope you would agree, not doing too badly. We've got quite a lot of involvement. There will now be scope for many more questions, I know, because I'm going to now step aside. We're going to play a small sting, as we call it, while I get off the stage and invite my good friend and colleague John to come on and guide you through into the next session. So for the time being, I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, but for now, thank you very much indeed.
Okay, good afternoon. Thanks for the musical jingle to bring us out, and Alistair, thanks for the nice handover. As Alistair said, we've got a very interesting afternoon session here to wrap it up. From Energy Alliances of Horses and Forces. It's quite an interesting title, but it's looking at the bigger picture. During our interview with His Royal Highness Prince Turki Al Faisal for my program, Marketplace Middle East, we touched upon the redevelopment of the New Silk Route. It's the strand of growth taking place from here in the kingdom, stretching to South and Central Asia, up to Russia and to China, and even if you think of this big arc of growth out into Southeast Asia. New alliances being forged initially by energy cooperation, Saudi Arabia and China, for example, establishing natural gas and oil refining capacities within southern China, which is novel in itself. For example, this led to foreign direct investment, to other projects by Saudi Arabia, in turn investing into real estate projects into China. Chinese contractors are playing a sizable role, the way I understand it, into the expansion of the 7 economic cities that have been announced in the country. It's a very different relationship than we would have seen 5 years ago, certainly a dramatically different relationship than we saw 30 years ago. Or another example, Kazakhstan. It trades energy both with Russia, about 50% of its energy going north into Russia. It also has built a special pipeline going into south-central China. It also ships energy through the Caspian Sea into Western Europe today. And if you go to the capital of Astana, which is not dissimilar to the economic cities that we see here in Saudi Arabia, you see a booming new capital being built with contractors from all over the world, no less Turkish contractors, Chinese contractors, Singaporean contractors, all taking place in this economic boom. I was laughing because when I visited Astana, I said, it looks like there's a number of cranes in the sky, maybe 50 or 60, and somebody said to me, 50 or 60, we're not playing around, it's 300, and I'm sure that's the scene we're going to see as we venture the country here with the economic activity taking place. But those two examples that I talked about with Saudi Arabia and China today, and Kazakhstan, Russia, China, are two examples where you see emerging forces, the horses, if you will, one with energy and one with demand, the growth that's taking place, forging alliances for the future. Now, there's two key components the way I see this phenomenon right now. No doubt that we're at the early part of the 21st century. We're seeing a tilt from the Middle East going to Far East Asia taking place, and that should be with us for the next 25 years. The infrastructure and strategic alliances today will dictate energy distribution for the next half century. And I'm thinking, again, Saudi Arabia, Russia, Qatar, Abu Dhabi, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, countries like this, and the alliances they form for the next 25 years are going to be key issue points for our discussion this afternoon. And don't limit it to just production, but think of storage capacity as well, and that unique opportunity that Saudi Arabia saw within China to establish storage facilities for distribution of both energy in the form of gas and oil. So this leads us partially to the discussion that we have this afternoon between the horses and forces of the 21st century. We have a phenomenal gathering of speakers initially, and those same speakers, bar one, will be joining us for a roundtable discussion thereafter. Let me introduce the panel to come on out. First off, the advisor to the President of the Russian Federation, Ashlyshkonov Aslanbek, who will be speaking in Russian. So I'd ask you to grab your translation devices because the speech will be translated both into English and into Arabic. Mr. Aslanbek can come on to the stage now. Mr. Peter Robertson is the Vice Chairman of Chevron. Dr. Ali Reza Attar, who's the Deputy Foreign Minister of Iran. And Mr. Khalid Al-Yahya, who's the co-founder and president of Middle East Asia Capital Partners, which is a leading private equity infrastructure fund. We're going to hear from each one of the individuals with speeches this afternoon. If I can have first Mr. Aslanbek come on to the podium here. I first want to commend the Jeddah Economic Forum for bringing the caliber of the speakers together, but look at the diversity that we have to discuss the issue that we have before us for the next hour before we get to our roundtable. Mr. Aslanbek, I'm going to ask you to come on up to go ahead and give your speech and presentation.
Бисмиллахир-рахманир-рахим. Ассаламу алейкум ва рахматуллаху ва баракату. Уважаемый губернатор, организаторы, участники и гости форума, позвольте выразить благодарность губернатору провинции Джидда и его превосходительству губернатору региона Мекки шейху Халеду Аль-Файсалу бен Абдул-Азизу за приглашение на столь важный и значимый экономический форум, а также организаторы этого важного, прекрасно организованного мероприятия и предоставленную возможность выступить перед вами на следующую тему: Россия и энергетическая безопасность стран Европы. Энергетическая политика носит определяющий характер в экономике развитых стран мира, так как именно посредством нее создаются необходимые для существования любого промышленного производства предпосылки. Так, вопросы энергетики были одним из ключевых факторов создания Европейского Союза. Германия, Франция, Италия и страны Бенилюкса сначала договорились о создании Европейского объединения угля и стали, а потом уже в 1957 году Евроатома и Европейского экономического сообщества. В настоящее время Евросоюз является одним из главных мировых нетто-импортеров энергоносителей. Современную структуру энергоснабжения стран Евросоюза составляет газо- и нефтеснабжение, отодвигая далеко на задний план все другие инфраструктуры, в том числе и угля. Структура энергетического рынка Европейского Союза определяет приоритетные направления его политики в сфере энергетики. Поэтому одним из важных для нее направлений в этом секторе экономики и политики является развитие многостороннего диалога с основным для Европы поставщиком энергоносителей России. В условиях стремительно растущего мирового энергопотребления, по оценкам специалистов, в ближайшие 20 лет потребление энергии увеличится где-то на 50%. Большое значение приобретает усиление международных энергетических отношений, призванных нивелировать неравномерность распределения источников энергии. Экономика всех стран мира остается в значительной степени зависимой от потребления традиционных энергоресурсов. И с учетом существующих прогнозов ситуация вряд ли сильно изменится в ближайшие 30-50 лет. Усиление международного взаимодействия в энергетической сфере проявляется в росте межрегиональной торговли энергоресурсами, увеличении притока прямых иностранных инвестиций в энергетику и в расширении информационного освещения энергетических вопросов. Сегодня можно с уверенностью утверждать, что мировая энергетика, так же и как другие спектры экономики и сферы нашей жизни, не избежали влияния